Go. Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Bastions and Basilisks. I'm Kalvin. Like it's the news. Sorry. I get ideas and they're terrible. Today we're talking about the light domain. Here to brighten up your day. Over to you, Kalvin. Thanks, Kalvin.
God, this pays off in the recording because all I see is the one. I'm like, this has to be like a skit. This has to be not. It's just stupid.
Well, it's also funny because as I was transitioning to it, I clicked open the browser, which then actually lit up my face better. So, so it's even better.
It's great.
Here from the
Convenient.
floor on Cal Prime. Yeah, so domain spells. At first level, they get Burning Hands, good spell, and Fairy Fire, okay spell. Third level, they get Flaming Sphere and Scorching Ray. Seems very offensive related. Fifth level, they get Daylight, just here to brighten up your day, and Fireball, see prior spell. Seventh level, they get Guardian of Faith and Wall of Fire. This is like the fire domain. Why is this the light domain?
As light as hot.
Ninth level, they get Flame Strike and Scrying. Because why the fuck not? Because I want to see how light up your life it is. All right. At first,
They want to know if you have light on the other side of where you are.
I will find you.
If not, fucking find a fireball.
And I will enlighten you.
You'll become enlightened by.
I will enlighten you. Bonus cantrip. When you choose this domain at first level, you gain the light cantrip if you don't already know it. Why would you choose it if you know you're getting it for free? Or I guess there's some races that get, like Asmar get the light cantrip for free. This cantrip doesn't count against the number of cleric cantrips you know. Not the best cantrip, because all of the best races have dark vision. And although I guess if you're playing it correctly, it's probably better. But a free cantrip is just free cantrip. So, one second. Now it's been over 3 minutes. Now it's been over 3 minutes, so I can make this tangent.
Did you specifically to tangent?
Yes, I will. That's why I went to check to see how long we into the video we were. Boom. So, it's a Pathfinder First Edition game I was playing in when I was playing my Musator. I think Telian was his name, with Cankles, my kick-ass Ankylosaurus that had a 35 armor class eventually. Actually, his would have been higher if I ever got to 20th level. We had a wizard who had the light cantrip, so he would often cast light because you have to pick something to cast light on. You can't just light. It's not like glowing sphere. You cast light. So what he would do is he would cast light on my antlers, and because of how tall I was and versus how tall he was. It just became like it was one of those things that like once you get into the groove of role playing and the pantomiming, you don't even have to say what you're doing. You're like, we're going forward, we're going to this cave, and then I just do this, and he's like, boop, and like so we know that he's casting light on my antlers, and then that became a thing that it was like, can you imagine that there are some monsters that they just that they just were in their room doing whatever. And in walks this like 6.5 foot tall, glowing headed beast. And that's the last thing some things ever saw. And I was only a druid. I
Imagine that you're the boogeyman of monsters.
Right,
It's like,
exactly.
they check for you underneath their bed.
Right. They check for me outside their door. They're like, "Is the light there?"
The light underneath the door, and they're like, "Oh no, it's coming! Get
Right.
underneath the blankets."
Well, it's also funny because I was a druid, so I wasn't even that strong. And another joke is that I was actually Kankel's animal companion. Because yeah,
I
at
think you
ninth
said that.
level, he had a 35 armor class. Which, if you're a person that's only played fifth edition, so it's hard to understand how impressive that is normally. Like that's ungodly and probably impossible in fifth edition, or near impossible in fifth edition. At ninth level, that's really fucking high. Because he also had like a plus like 9 or 11 natural armor bonus. He had like armor,
Jeez.
dexterity bonus. Yeah, because he's an Ankylosaurus. That's literally his job.
It's his job not to get hurt.
Anyway, that's a cute little. I forgot about the light cantrip thing until we were talking about it last week at Scott's game, and there's like, boop. So my like giant antler, glowing antlers. Although technically it should have just been one, which would have been even funnier. But a flaming Musator about to charge doesn't get much more serious. Also at first level, warding flare. You can interpose divine light between yourself and an attacking enemy. When you are attacked by a creature within 30 feet of you that you can see, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll, causing light to flare before the attacker before it hits or misses. An attacker that can't be blinded is immune to this feature. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of once. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Kind of useful. You have to use it before they roll. Because
I've
causing a light to flare before the attacker before it hits or misses, because it doesn't say that you wait for them to roll and then decide to use it, which means you have to choose to give them. It's like so and so is going to attack you. Okay, I'm going to use warding flare. Like if you know that they
yeah.
might have advantage against you, like if you're fighting something that gets advantage, like original kobolds or gnolls or Sahuagin or whatever, like then it's good. But limited uses.
This has its uses.
No, I mean limited in is how many times you can use it.
Sorry.
So it's a solid ability, but only being able to use it 3, 4, 5 times a day, kind of weak. Because a fighter
Yeah.
with a fighter with one of their abilities, they can every round use their reaction to do the same thing.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of like. I allow people who have like the light spell or similar things that like light up. If they cast it in someone's face, I tend to allow disadvantage in the first place. So like seeing this, it's like kind of doing it anyway.
Right. Well, like I said, though, light has to be cast on something.
Yeah.
So if they have it cast on like a rock that they throw up in front, all right. Um, it's good. It's a good ability. It's just not as strong because of its limited amount of uses. Even if you made it proficiency modifier, it's only up to 6. I mean, technically you can go above 20 if you have magic or whatever on your wisdom, but only 5 uses a day is. I would change it so that it's like you can only regain 1 use back during a short rest. That way, if you use like 3 or 4 of them before, and then you're like, okay, let's take a short rest, you get it back, unless uh, no, that doesn't do anything. Okay, yeah, so it's kind of underwhelming. In Yeah, I would change it a little bit. I like it. It's a good ability. It's just I don't like how the amount of times you can use it is underwhelming.
Yeah, it's good. It's just limited.
Exactly. Channel Divinity, Radiance of Dawn. Starting at second level, you can use your. I don't have a news announcer voice. You can use your Channel Divinity to harness sunlight, banishing darkness and dealing radiant damage to your foes. As an action, you present your holy symbol, and any magical darkness within 30 feet of you is dispelled. Sucker! Additionally, each hostile creature within 30 feet of you must make a Constitution saving throw. A creature takes radiant damage equal to 2d10 plus your cleric level on a failed saving throw, and half as much damage on a successful one. A creature that has total cover from you is not affected. See, now this circumstantially is really strong for the dispelling the magical darkness. I like that that's probably just an afterthought. So we're going to ignore that because how many times are you going to be able to use like, oh, they cast darkness. I go kaboo.
Yeah.
I pull out the sun. Well, actually, this is where you could pull an Escanor. Like I've what?
I just found it funny because I don't watch Seven Deadly Sins yet, so it's like I know who you're talking about though.
He fights a demon. Spoilers.
Right?
Well, yeah, he's fighting a demon, and essentially the thing casts darkness on like his hand and on his sunlight ability, or he's like his cruel sun ability, and essentially it's like I've turned out your light, and he's like, you turned out my light. Who decided that? And then he just like overpowers it, and just suddenly cruel sun is back up. He's like, sucker. Um. So yeah. So it won't come into effect very often, but when it does, it'll be great. That'll be one of those clutch things where you're like, oh shit, this dispels magic darkness. Like, but it's really the next part of it that is really powerful because it's
You
each
hurt
hostile
people.
creature within 30 feet of you, which means this is a 30-foot radius, 60-foot diameter ability that you get at second level.
And it does
2d10
radiant.
plus your cleric level. Yeah, radiant damage, which is not. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle or lower. I don't know where it is in the resistance. I'm sure there's a chart I could probably find for monsters that have resistance to radiant damage. But 2d10 plus your cleric level. So at this point, you're doing 2d10 plus 2, which might not seem like a lot, but if you could figure out a way to get in into the middle of a bunch of kobolds or goblins at second level, you're like, it's like you ever play Gears of War?
Yeah, I played the third one, Judgment.
It's the Hammer of Dawn.
Yeah,
Or it's
I
almost
can.
like, or it's like in Injustice when you use Lex Luthor's ultimate ability, where it's like the laser from space, where it's like, but yet, like, this is incredibly powerful, especially because they take half damage. If it was a save or suck, this would be solid, but not great.
Yeah, this would be
But
a.
the fact that
You'll go.
it's the fact that you're taking. Okay, I'm pulling out my dice now because I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll this damage. All right, you're gonna roll. You're gonna roll. Do you have a d20 right next to you?
I technically do. Yes.
All
One
right.
second.
You get a +5 DC second level. We'll say DC 14.
Okay. So roll
Roll.
to DC 15.
Yeah,
I fail.
14. DC 14. Did you
I
say?
pass.
All right. So you take.
I rolled a nine.
You was what?
Rolled a nine.
You rolled. I can't fucking hear you for some reason. Your sound keeps cutting out.
I rolled a 9.
So you got exactly a 14.
Yeah, that's why I said you said 15 at first, and I was like, I failed, and then you said
No,
14. I was
no.
like, I passed.
Well, I went with it's DC 8 plus modifier plus theoretically you might have a +4, or I have a +4 on my wisdom modifier because I'm very wise. So okay, so I rolled a 9 +3 +2. So I rolled. So you take 7 points of damage.
Which is not bad.
Yeah, and it's a and it's con. That is a con save, which I mean theoretically you probably, if you have a +5 con modifier, you probably can take that as a hit. But if you're something weak or something that is weak against light,
You're gonna hurt.
that's real good. We just nerd. That's probably the nerdiest we've been on here by actually roll. I think that's also the first time we've rolled dice in a video.
On actual channel, other than the game.
Yeah, besides actually playing a game. I like this
Yeah.
ability. I like this ability a lot. This actually like this won't necessarily bring this domain up yet, but this is a really good ability.
I think this is one of my favorite abilities given thus far.
Right, because it's each hostile creature within 30 feet of you. It's not up to your wisdom modifier creatures within 30 feet of you. It's not whatever. It's start only the closest creatures. There's no, like I said, if you're this is a way to accidentally power level the group. If you could finagle your like somebody played through Baldur's Gate 3 where they just blew up a whole goblin encampment. If you could finagle your way into the middle of a bunch of goblins or kobolds or something with low hit points, you just AoE. Especially if
Yeah,
it's something that's weak against radiant.
you really with 5th edition goblins. I'm not sure how the older editions are. You could absolutely fucking eviscerate goblins with a set with 7 damage.
I mean, depending on how you roll too, and then so it's a luck of the draw. You're like, ha! And then they save, so you're taking half of 4 damage. They're like, okay, we take 2, and you're like, remember that time that we were friends? So it could be really, it could
You got
suck.
like 12
It
goblins
could be
up beat your ass.
right. It could be really good. I no, I really like this. Radiance of the Dawn is a really, really good ability. At improved flare, starting at 6th level, you can also use your warding flare feature when a creature that you can see within 30 feet of you attacks a creature other than you. I like it. However,
A good addition.
it's an addition to a mediocre ability.
Fair.
So
It should have been. It should have been okay. Improved Radiance of the Dawn.
improved radiance of
You get an
the
extra 2d10.
right.
You get an extra 2d10 and your radius doubles.
I mean, that's where Radiance of Dawn kind of tapers off is at higher levels because doing 2d10. But I mean, once again, it's still 2d10 plus your level. So at level 10, that's 2d10 plus 10. At level 20, that's 2d10 plus 20. Like you're doing your minimum
Odds of
damage.
something that cast darkness at higher levels is possible is a
True.
lot more frequent, to be
Or
fair. So that actually could or
if you're playing this in Barovia on accident somehow, you're like, hey, what's up, vampire?
you somehow turn into
um, yeah. Yeah, I don't like improved flare. I mean, it's a nice addendum or a nice addition to a man ability. I want to like warding flare. It's just like
yeah.
after one encounter, like I saved you guys from a couple of hits that might have not been. See, that's the thing that also warding flare is you have to hope that they might have hit you. So it's great
Yeah.
against something that like a giant that has a big old bonus to hit. You're like, cool, boom, but disadvantage.
Maybe one of
Or whatever, or like if you're playing once again Lost Mines of Phandelver,
got it right.
when you're fighting the bugbear in the first cave, you're like kaboosh. So
Skadoosh.
skadoosh. 8th level potent spellcasting, we've established, all great. Corona of Light. It's like They're lime. Starting at 17th level, you can use your action to activate an
You're,
aura of sunlight. What?
you're a skadoosh bag.
Yeah, I am a skadoosh bag. An aura of sunlight that lasts for 1 minute or until you dismiss it using another action. You emit bright light in a 60-foot radius and dim light 30 feet beyond that. That's you. You're the dim light. Your enemies in the bright light. Your enemies in the bright light have disadvantage on saving throws against any spell that deals fire or radiant damage. Damn.
You know what's funny is that I initially thought that it said den, not dim light. Like even though I read it and I heard it properly, I thought of Chim Den. I was like thinking of my character. I was like, I don't know how I got to that, but I
That
thought
is
of my character.
that is validating that you are dim light.
Dude, this light bulb burnt out a long time ago.
Um. Yeah.
Like one
That
of those horror movies that is just barely the element glowing.
they might have. There might have been an errata on it,
What do you mean?
but how many times? How many times can you use Corona of Light? Does it say? It does not.
You can use your action to activate an aura of sunlight that lasts for 1 minute or until you dismiss it using another action. You emit bright light in a 60-foot radius and dim light in 30 feet beyond that. Your enemies in bright light have disadvantage on saving throws against any spells that deals fire or radiant damage. Honestly, yeah, you could just really start spamming this. That's actually kind of fucking
Right.
broken.
Turn it on. Turn it on.
And the
Turn it on.
cool thing is that have disadvantage against spells that are fire radiant. You would probably like have learned this using your ability if your allies that cast fire or radiant spells aren't using those spells for any sort of reason, they are crazy. Like they should not be
Right.
doing that. That is very,
Right.
very stupid.
Yeah.
Or at least ones that require saving. Got to think about that.
Well, the funny thing is you could activate this, and then as your bonus action, crap, what does that? The cleric cantrip that can target Sacred Flame. I think it's a bonus action. Maybe not. But bless you.
I can check her. I think Sacred Flame's an action.
Maybe. But you can use
I will
Sacred
check.
Flame on them, and they have disadvantage on the saving throw against it. So if you're down to just cantrips, you go ha, and then next turn, like it's really the disadvantage on any spell that deals. I didn't even realize it was any spell. My brain was like any of your spells, but any spell, yeah. You cast it, and then you have somebody else that does light spells, somebody else that does fire spells, and drop it. And I mean, you could do Flame Strike. Flame Strike does both, so like you're just suddenly upping your DPS potential because people are rolling disadvantage against you. You just move over to them and be like, how far are they? 65 feet? Cool. I took a 5 foot free. Once again, it's the Hammer of Dawn from Gears of War. The power of the sun in the palm of my hands.
Praise the sun.
Praise the sun. Yeah, you have to play. You have to play a stair.
Let's say whoever plays Solaire needs to play this.
Yeah, Solaire. Yeah, you got to play Solaire. Oh, man, I mean, there's already a Dark Souls RPG. It's not great, but
Edition conversion for Dark Souls.
well, I think that's what it is. It's a book for Curtis.
It needs to start with
Curtis
you
has
said
it.
Curtis has
Curtis, Curtis has it. Yeah.
Oh my God, it doesn't start with you died in the beginning.
Right. Well, you have to fight a boss you can't. You have to fight a boss you for sure can't win against. Or I don't know. That's what I'm saying. If you're playing the game, you have to fight against a boss you for sure can't beat, unless they roll really bad and you roll really good. No. So Corona of Light is incredible. Radiance of Dawn is incredible. Flare is all right. Once again, I would change it if I was changing it. I would maybe a certain amount of uses per short rest instead, or because it's just even at level 20, like even with a bunch of bonuses, like maybe using it 6 or 7 times a day, like it's not a whole lot. Or even give it like a 1 or 2 plus your with wisdom modifier. Like just give it a little bump because you have one fight and you're like, I'm just fuck it, I'm using it once around. Boop, against me. Like if you're getting attacked, you're like, I mean, yeah, I guess that's they have to be attacking you, so it might not get as many uses. But then at 6th level, you're like, cool, disadvantage, disadvantage. Like I said though, a fighter at 2nd level gets their fighting style. If they go shield, they can go cool, boom, disadvantage against an ally. If you have a artificer who has their 3rd level, who has their iron defender, boom, disadvantage against an ally. Like you have things that could do it infinitely at 2nd and 3rd level. It's it's not that great against when compared to that. So it can be useful, not great. Light cantrip is all right. Thematically it makes sense, so I'm not upset about it. It's just a mediocre cantrip. Yeah, warding flare is all right. Radiance of Dawn is incredibly powerful. Improved flare is only slightly better. Warding flare, potent spellcasting is potent spellcasting. Whatever. I don't need to pronounce things correctly. And Corona of Light, yeah, Corona of Light is a really good capstone ability, especially if you're.
I agree. This is
It,
at least
especially because you can technically hold your action. So if the cleric is going last, you could essentially just be like, I hold my action. And so the entire group can hold their action. And if you have people that can do multiple spells, like, you have a cleric, you have a wizard, maybe you have a ranger that does fire or a whatever. I mean, you probably should theoretically have a barbarian or a fighter, but like, yeah, it's a really good
this is a good
ability.
ability.
It's a really good ability because now you're dropping like this, and then an ally drops a fireball, and then next turn they're dropping a fireball, and you're just raining hellfire on enemies. Yeah. So no, this is a really good ability. I really like her. They have 2 incredible abilities, and which are tempered by their lack of
Two
flair.
really bad. They're
Oh,
yeah.
It really is a lack of flair though, because once they've used it, now they're lacking. Boom.
Yeah,
I should have said back
I
to you,
stand by the
Kalvin. Thanks,
comment
Kalvin.
now because yeah.
Yeah, it's been funny, especially because now it's darker. The studio
I
is
can't wait to rewatch that.
it's gonna be great. Yeah, no, I'm gonna say if we're giving it a rating 6, the
Yeah,
mediocre flare
definitely.
ability kind of brings it down. Radiance of Dawn brings it up, and then their level 17 brings it up a lot, but still, with the flare brings it to kind of negate some of the usefulness. If flare could be used more times, I would probably put it at like a 7.
Yeah, definitely like once a day kind of defeats it, like you said. Like,
Yeah,
or being able to only
up to
once a
X per
day.
day is like cool. I used it all in the first and second fight of the day. Now because it doesn't matter how useful it is to be able to help an ally, or make it so that the ones
Yeah.
against there's the amount of times you can use it for yourself is independent of the amount of times you can use it for an ally. That would be
Yeah,
another.
that'd be smart.
That would be another thing that I would be cool. Um,
Yeah, I agree with that.
um, so 17 bastions and -9 or -11 basilisks. I don't know. I'm just doing the math to make sure that it equals 6.
Jesus. It's an okay class. I think 6 is a good place marker. Like it
6 is
has
great.
great
6
abilities. It
is
has some
great.
really
Yeah,
good
6 or well, second is incredible. 17 is incredible. But how many get up to 17? So you're
yeah.
really basing it off of 2nd level ability, which is pretty strong, especially because once again you can use that 3 times. You can, and you're
Mainly considering the fact that I don't think any of the other classes so far I've had, not class subclasses of the cleric have such a strong ability at second level. Like
Well, I mean,
Grave,
life domain can heal. Grave can stop. Grave gives you them vulnerability. This is their first
yeah, like
offensive, but that like damage dealing, because you could technically your channel divinity turn undead, but
yeah,
that doesn't technically do any damage until you get like the turn destruction, destroy undead or whatever ability at 5. But yeah, so this is the first, might be the only offensive channel divinity. I don't know. I haven't read through all of the clerics, but this is a solid. That's a really solid channel divinity. Because once again, even if you only get it off once, like that's still you're like every creature within 30 feet of you, or each hostile creature within 30 feet of you. Like I don't think people understand how nasty that can be. That's like you like we were saying, like a bunch of goblins. Because if it matters about experience points, then you just nuked an entire cave of goblins. You want to see a magic trick? You want to see it again? Like, and then use that like an intimidate check on
I
it.
thought of
Like,
oh my god, I thought of the scene from Monsters Inc. where they found the briefcase, I think, or whatever the fuck, and the CDC, whatever the fuck they call it, just like pulse fucking whatever is the fucking bar or whatever the fuck it is.
good stuff.
Yeah,
Anyway, so that's the light domain. Wasn't very bright.
that was
Like Brandon. Boom. Got him again.
I,
He's very handsome.
I
Um, I'm just kidding. You're not handsome. No, I'm just
don't
kidding.
make
You're fine.
Mark.
Intelligently, you're fine. I just
The fact was real. Look, I'm fine with being insulted. Let's just continue.
step back, real. Crisscross. Oh, he died recently. Oh, sad face. Anyway,
I
this has
didn't know.
been this has been the light
It's a way
domain.
to find out.
I'm Kalvin.
That's some really depressing news. I'm Brandon.
More news at 10. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And now you get to listen to the outro song. And that's the outro song. Yeah!